Hello, my name is Stephen Wyman, and I will be discussing facial expressions. Briefly, I'll be talking a little bit about the history and context of them, and then I'll be describing 3 approaches to understanding them, followed by some suggestions for how to improve upon them. Let's begin. So, bioevolutionary influences on facial expression. Scientists theorize that humans developed facial expressions to express emotion particularly, and one of the earliest scientists to investigate was Charles Darwin, who proposed that there are 2 different ways to go about expressing emotion. Behaviors are directly correlated with needs. For instance, you smell something bad and plug your nose. And facial displays are a direct result of nervous system arousal, meaning when you're surprised, your nervous system gets aroused and you elicit a surprise facial expression. The first approach to understanding facial expressions is the structural approach, which focuses on how the face looks. Ray Birdwhistell was proposed the most famous example of a structural approach, where he described facial expressions using kinemes, kinemorphs, and parkinesics. Kinemes are like the smallest meaningful unit in a language, except for non-verbally, so it could be a smile, something as simple as that. A kinemorph is a combination of kinemes that produce complex constructions like sentences, and parkinesics, in terms of language, can be thought of as the syntax of nonverbal communication. The second approach is the functional approach, arguably one of the most popular approaches to understanding facial expressions. Is focused on the function of the kinesic behavior and what it does. Namely, there are 5 different types of communication. There are emblems, illustrators, regulators, affect displays, and adapters. Emblems can stand on their own as a communication act. Illustrators accompany speech. Regulators maintain turn-taking. Affect displays reveal emotions. And adapters satisfy physical or psychological needs. This is often like a habit, like twiddling your thumbs or something. The third and final approach is the meaning-based approach, which focuses on the meaning of the facial expressions, rather what they do and how they look. As a result, it is context-specific, and the meaning will depend on a number of outside factors that vary from situation to situation. For myself, I see facial expression and emotions as intertwined. To me, they're almost one and the same. I've found that facial expressions can communicate entirely on their own, meaning that they can have like sentences like hello, goodbye type of thing, but they also communicate emotions, and that's been an important part of growing up for me. From the textbook of Burgoon et al., the face and the eyes are commanding because they are always visible and always on. So for the first way to improve facial expression use comes from the Psychology Today journal, where Whitbourne describes the importance of facial expression and emotional intelligence. And she suggests that you watch a TV or movie with a bunch of well-known actors and turn off all of the audio and subtitles, and write down as many emotions as you recognize in the scene, completely visually, and then rewatch the same scene with the audio on and compare to see if the emotions are the different or same. The second suggestion comes from the American Psychology Association, where they focus on microexpressions and their importance and relevance to emotion. They say that microexpressions are a result of emotion, and that they list the best way as more exposure and more practice. Specifically, if you're out and about with a group of friends or something, try to see if you can focus on their microexpressions and assign meaning to each particular microexpression. And looking back, I wanted to ask you all if you could think of any other way to practice understanding facial expressions, maybe some other way to get more exposure or some other way to learn different facial expressions. And as far as an add-on for the first one, if you're ever watching a movie, try to identify the emotions in the scene without audio, and then compare them to emotions that should be in the scene and that the author might be try to expect it, maybe is try to expressing but cannot. Noting the differences between them could help improve your facial expression understanding. And in conclusion, facial expressions are a large part, if not the largest part, of nonverbal communication. There's several different approaches: the structural, functional, and meaning-based approach, and they can be improved. You can get better at understanding and sending facial expressions. It just takes practice. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day.